Listeners, as we discussed today, remember that every small business deserves accuracy in its finances. It's a backbone of sustainable growth.
One of the biggest challenges we had was actually finding and training staff.
Automation is changing the landscape of bookkeeping, especially when it comes to preventing errors that can be costly and time-consuming to fix.
The most appreciated feature is the daily report, just being able to get feedback within 24 hours.
Hi everyone, this is Maheen and welcome to the CanadianSME Small Business Podcast. Today we're diving into a crucial topic, which is maintaining bookkeeping accuracy to prevent costly errors. In a world where small businesses depend on reliable financial practices, finding effective solutions can make all the difference. Joining us is Leeroy Beeby, the co-founder at Level, an automated error detection tool for QuickBooks Online. Originally from South Africa, Leeroy has a rich background in accounting and consulting, and after earning his MBA in Canada, he founded and scaled an accounting firm, now bringing his expertise to Level. Leeroy, we're very excited to have you on the show. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I'm glad to be here.
Very pleased to have you with us this afternoon. Now, Leroy, let's begin by discussing the challenges in bookkeeping for small businesses, because accurate bookkeeping is a major challenge for small businesses with limited resources and high expectations for precision. Leroy, what are some of the biggest challenges that you observed in bookkeeping for small businesses, and how can firms overcome these obstacles?
That's a good question. There's a lot of power in knowing your numbers, especially if you're running a business. Having an idea of what your profitability is just helps you make that much more informed decisions, right? Um, the most common challenges I see in or have seen in small businesses with regards to bookkeeping is quite often bookkeeping is delegated to someone within the organization that doesn't have a strong accounting background, or it's as an entrepreneur who's trying to do hustle and make things work, they do it themselves. And I think that the narrative around someone doing the books themselves today that doesn't necessarily have a bookkeeping background uh, needs a slight adjustment, in the sense of quite often what we see is small businesses do the books themselves, and there's a huge tax bill that either comes at the end of the year or years later when all these mistakes come out to light. And one of the challenges you have as someone that doesn't have a background in bookkeeping is quite often the software tools try to make bookkeeping as easy as possible, but as a consequence, um, leave out important information that you should be including in your bookkeeping that would make that tax bill or the reliability of your financial information that much better, right? I think it's without understanding what the second order consequences are of poor bookkeeping, which I think a lot of small business owners who delegate those tasks to people don't necessarily understand at that point in time, you can find yourself in quite a serious hole. And I think that's the misconception is, hey, like I actually don't know what the second order consequences of my bad bookkeeping is generating at the time of doing it. Sure, years later or at the end of the year when the tax bill comes up, that's when that information comes to light. But there is seriously a misinformation at the point of bookkeeping that people don't understand quite at that point what their decisions are leading to in the long run.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's enlightening to hear about these pain points, and thank you for breaking it down for us, Leroy. Now, how does Level address these specific challenges to make the process much more smoother for small businesses or for small business bookkeepers?
Yeah. I think, having been in practice and seen how bookkeepers are trained or feedback is given to anyone that's not necessarily trained as a bookkeeper, uh, what you want is something just to tell you, like, hey, you're doing a good job or you're not doing a good job. I think most people who do the books themselves, are incredibly self-conscious of that. Like, you log into bookkeeping software and you're like, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing or if I'm doing the wrong thing. I'm just going to wing it. And quite often there's no feedback provided to like those decisions until the end of the year, or if you've got a manager weeks after you've done the bookkeeping, so you've made that mistake repeatedly, And what Level's trying to do is just give that feedback to the end user by the end of the day or the next day, just saying, hey, you did all these transactions today. You know, these look unusual. You might want to double check these or ask your accountant or your manager for more information. So
Mm-hmm.
just providing more of a co-pilot or like a supportive tool to just help you feel more confident that you're doing the right thing. Our goal at Level is not necessarily to make sure that your books are completely accurate the whole time, because in bookkeeping there is a contextual problem, right? Like if I buy, say, Uber meets meals for my team internally versus if I buy Uber, say, with a client and it's a sales call, from a bookkeeping and tax perspective, those are very different.
Mm-hmm.
But like you wouldn't know that just seeing the Uber expense, right? Um, so having a tool that just you can ask or double check these things in is really what we're trying to help small businesses with today, whether that be someone that's managing a team of bookkeepers or if you are a bookkeeper yourself in an organization.
Well, addressing these challenges head on is essential for efficient and trusted bookkeeping. Listeners, as we discussed today, remember that every small business deserves accuracy in its finances. It's a backbone of sustainable growth. Next, let's discuss a tool that can make all the difference because automation is changing the landscape of bookkeeping, especially when it comes to preventing errors that can be costly and time consuming to fix. Leroy, in your experience, what is or why is automating error detection so essential, and how does it impact overall business efficiency?
Yeah, that's great. I come from an audit background, so I worked at KPMG, audited companies, well, in South Africa at least, that were listed on the stock exchange. And when you look at these large enterprises, there's this idea of financial controls. Only certain people are allowed to do certain things, and if not, that looks like that could be an inaccurate. Worst case, that could be fraud. Those sort of things. But when you look at these tools that are built for small to medium sized businesses, there's a lack of those financial controls. Pretty much anyone can do anything in there, and it just opens up a business to fraud, to tax liabilities, and just like poor decision making.
Mm-hmm.
So having a tool that can automatically identify those errors, especially when you don't have that know-how, can be incredibly valuable for a business. And quite honestly, I think as humans, we're bad at audit. We're bad at like double checking ourselves or double checking someone's work. We're just like, hey, why didn't you do it right the first time, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And having a tool that automates that experience for you can, one, give feedback to your team members in a much quicker turnaround time than you could otherwise, creating a way better work culture. And then two, saves you time at the end of the day and when you're reviewing the work so that you could focus on more high value items. And then, three is just, like the onboarding time for any new employee or client that you're assigning to an employee goes way down because they're getting that feedback much faster.
Right. Now, that perspective really underscores the importance of catching mistakes early on. And thank you for sharing that insight, Leroy. Next, we'll dive into the unique story behind Level Copilot and how it came to be. Every great solution, it has a story. And Level Copilot's journey is truly insightful, Leroy, from an internal tool to a powerful industry resource. Leroy, can you share the story behind the creation of Level Copilot and what inspired you to develop it as a solution for others?
Yeah. So yeah, that's a great question. So I mean, as I mentioned earlier, I'm a trained accountant, and one of the biggest challenges we had was actually finding and training staff. So uh, when I moved to Canada and finished my MBA at the University of Toronto, we started a bookkeeping firm, and we grew rapidly. I think we
Mm-hmm.
we grew to over 20 employees within 18 months. I made some mistakes in the hiring, and quite often when I try to find time to give feedback to my team on the quality of their bookkeeping, it was done at month end, so 3 to 4 weeks after the mistakes had been made, and they'd repeated them. In the worst cases, the clients had identified the mistakes before I could, and that's just never great in an industry built on trust. So what we did was build actually Level Copilot internally, just to help with providing feedback to our bookkeepers and improve the quality of our bookkeeping for our clients. And we just found such great value through it internally, that we decided to spit it out as its own product, right? Something that is affordable, easy to use, can retrofit into your existing workflow quite easily, and just helps with some of the biggest costs in your business, which are onboarding new staff, employee turnaround time. When you look at the accounting industry, there are fewer and fewer bookkeepers and accountants entering the industry. So being able to quickly onboard a staff member in an industry where there's high turnover can be incredibly valuable, right?
Absolutely. No, what a fantastic example of how a personal need can really evolve into a solution for others. Now, Leroy, given this background, how has Level evolved to meet the needs of both individual bookkeepers and large accounting firms?
Sure. So, we started off internally with our bookkeeping team when we built this product. So, a lot of what we built was built on best bookkeeping practices, but we're very open to feedback from our current user base. We're basically accountants building a product for accountants, right? So we understand the pain points that you're going through, and we're listening to see what we can do to help bring more value to your processes at the end of the day, so you're doing much more high value work. Whether that be a bookkeeping firm that's got a whole bunch of bookkeepers on payroll, or that be a large accounting department that's running on a software that doesn't necessarily have all the financial controls or can't afford larger enterprise solutions and still are running their books on something like QuickBooks Online.
Level's journey shows how innovative solutions can arise from first-hand challenges. Stay tuned, everyone. We'll be right back with more insights on how Level is helping bookkeepers detect errors before they impact business finances.
You dreamt big. You made the leap. You and your "we're not stopping at small" business. Doesn't matter you've never done it before. You unlock those problems. You adapt to change. You learn to evolve. You're pioneers in challenging times, finding your own frontiers. Wherever you e-commerce, UPS is with you. So nothing is going to hold you back.
4 billion people check their email every day. That's 4 billion missed opportunities if your message doesn't make it. To reach your customer's inbox, you need a winning strategy. And Constant Contact delivers. Literally, over 97% deliverability. Elevate your email game with easy-to-use templates, writing assistants powered by AI, and in-depth metrics. Ensuring your email is flawless, delivered, and read. Constant Contact delivers. Give it a try.
At IHG Hotels and Resorts, we're in the business of you.
We're here to help you plug in,
Connect and recharge.
make an impression,
and meet with confidence.
With 19 brands built for business,
your business gets even more rewarding.
With an award-winning loyalty program at 6,000 IHG hotels and resorts worldwide.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's continue our conversation with Leeroy on the future of bookkeeping and how technology can simplify our day-to-day financial management. Now we will explore its practical impact on bookkeepers and business owners, because every bookkeeper knows that certain errors are all too common, but a reliable tool can really make all the difference in identifying and addressing them. Leeroy, what are some of the common bookkeeping errors that Level can help users detect and resolve?
Yeah. These can actually be quite easy. They don't have to be complicated. I think one of our most favorite is the duplicate expense error detection tool. So basically seeing whether any open bills to supply invoices, also known as bills. So one of our rules is the duplicate expense rule. How that works is essentially it was going to look at any expenses coded to the accounting software and compare that to any open bills that are that are still there in the accounting software too. And if an expense should have been applied to a bill, it will notify you if it should have been that case, right? So that's one of the more complex, but one of our favorite rules. But it could be things like transactions just missing a vendor or customer information. Why that's so important is you can historically assess where transactions and sales tax should be coded if you know what the vendor or customer is. So, let's just say you're looking at Home Depot. Historically, Home Depot has had HST, GST applied to it, but now it's got exempt or zero rated sales tax applied to it. Our software can quickly say like, hey, historically, you've been coding this to a different sales tax number. You should be, and you've applied it to something different. You might want to double check that. So just having that first order of, hey, everything is coded to a vendor or customer can really help, identify other potential errors that might go down the line, especially if you're swapping staff or if you're using staff that aren't really familiar with that sales tax treatment. Those are some of the favorite rules that our clients like using.
No, that's really valuable information for anyone that is looking to manage their finances. So thanks, Leroy. Now, how do users benefit from these error detection features in Level, and which features have been most appreciated by your customers?
Yeah, so the most appreciated feature is the daily report. Just being able to get feedback within 24 hours on potential errors can just really help you feel more confident in the bookkeeping, and then help you address those and learn on the job faster. And the other side to this is it's just it's such an affordable tool, and we have a 30-day free trial. So it's $2 per client file. All it does is review your work, give you feedback, and it's set it and forget it. Once you've enabled our product, in a matter of minutes, you're just getting that feedback and someone just double checking your books every day.
But it's clear that Level is transforming bookkeeping by tackling these common issues that most people face. Now, as we continue, let's dive into how AI is shaping the future of financial management. And that is something that we will see continually evolve, right? It's paving the way for more advanced, intuitive solutions in financial management. Leroy, how do you see AI shaping the future of bookkeeping, and what role does Level play in this evolving landscape?
Yeah. I think AI and bookkeeping and accounting is a very hot topic, and at least my view on it is that AI is not going to replace any bookkeepers anytime soon, but more so empower them. As I talked about earlier, there's a very big contextual problem with understanding the reason behind a transaction, which, if you were to get that reasoning, can be caught up in very siloed different types of tools. So, if something's integrated with another piece of software, then you're going to depend on whether you have access to that tool as well, or the AI, and that's not going anywhere anytime soon. There's also some of these software tools might not want AI to access them for IP reasons. So when I think about AI, the landscape it plays in the accounting industry and in Level, I definitely think of it more as an empowering tool, something that you can turn to ask a question and give you feedback on how to do the books, or hey, like something that necessarily automates some of the bookkeeping. I think there are some aspects of it that can be automated, but you still need something to audit that, right? You still need something to double check that, because if your AI goes haywire and just posts 1,000 transactions in one day to the wrong account, someone's going to have to fix that. And you want to be notified of that sooner rather than later. So Level's role in the future is to support bookkeepers through AI as an assistant in them doing the bookkeeping, as well as to identify any errors that might happen in the books. So you can quite see there, we're not here to take anyone's jobs, but more so empower bookkeepers, especially because there's fewer and fewer bookkeepers and accountants entering the industry, right?
Right. Now, it's really fascinating to think about AI's potential in transforming how we handle finances. To our listeners, please remember that technology isn't here to replace us, but to support our goals and streamline our work. Leroy, what should small businesses or bookkeepers consider when choosing an automation tool for error detection? What would be your final piece of thought on this?
Yeah. So like when it comes to this, one thing you've got to look at first is, how big of a solution are you looking at? There's a lot of solutions on the market that have a lot of features, and implementing a solution like that can take a lot of time, and then there's continued support that needs to happen while you implement that tool. So I'd be looking at how much am I willing to change my existing workflows, budget, of course, and time to value. So when we think about level in those aspects, it's $2 a month if you go with the annual plan per client file. We have a 30-day free trial. You can check it out on checkthelevel.com, and we retrofit into any pre-existing workflows that you have. So, it's a much easier solution to implement than some of those practice management solutions that are out there. And what's unique about us is that alert that you get within 24 hours. Quite often these tools are focused on month-end reporting, and as we discussed earlier, that that feedback can either be too late or just some bookkeepers just never get it, and that just repeats the cycle of making more and more mistakes.
No, thank you so much, Leeroy, for sharing your story and your expertise with us. It's been a pleasure discussing the transformation potential of Level for bookkeeping. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Today, we were joined by Leeroy Beeby, the co-founder of Level, who shared insights into bookkeeping challenges, the power of automation, and how Level is helping businesses stay ahead of errors. We'd like to thank our partners RBC, UPS, Constant Contact, IG, and Google for their invaluable support in bringing you these essential insights. To our listeners, please be sure to tune in to CanadianSME.ca and subscribe to the Canadian SME Small Business Magazine for more valuable content tailored to small businesses. Again, we'll see you in the next episode. Until next time, stay inspired and keep driving your business forward.